I picked up this Mustang a couple of months ago. It's apparently been sitting for at least 20 years, probably longer. I actually bought this for parts for $2,800 or $2,850. It's got a title and keys, and it's a real Mach 1, so I don't think I'm going to part this car. I think it's worth saving. When I bought it, I brought it back, parked it here, and it's been sitting for at least 3 or 4 months. So the weather's nice. It's time to do something with this. I think I'm just going to see if I can get it running and then sell it. I'm not going to restore it or do anything like that. The hood is shut and can't get open. The guy I got it from couldn't open it. I can't open it. I've been lubing it up. That's doing nothing. It's just completely rusted. So it's weird. This car is pretty rusty in some areas and others surprisingly good. It's not completely rotten. So I think it's worth saving. I'm going to do a little walk around, and then we're going to try and put it in the garage and mess with it. We might try and get the hood open out here. So these wheels are from an earlier Mustang. They don't match and they got snow tires, but they're still holding air. You can see the original green. Somebody's been doing some weird painting. This is technically a Mach 1 stripe, goes along the bottom. On 71 and 72 it goes up and over. But this does not say Mach 1, so it's been repainted. It's probably got broken springs. This is a disc brake car. You probably can't tell. It's completely rotten in there. I don't know what somebody was doing with this paint. Rusty, but it's still pretty solid. This looks galvanized. This is where the rust comes in. Pretty typical. Let's see. I don't know if somebody repainted that. What's going on there? Pretty rotten back here. Lots of Bondo, but this car is complete. This is a factory H-code car, which means it came with a 351 two barrel or two valve. Some studded tires. This has been an Ohio car its entire life, you can tell. It's automatic, 9-inch rear end, probably a FMX transmission, which I don't think are very good. It's undercoating. That's where it goes. Bottom of this door, from out here is not too bad. So this appears to be factory, although I don't know if it has its original engine. I just know it has one, but it does have long tube headers. I had to, and a shorter exhaust. I had to strap it up so it didn't get caught on the trailer. Sill is in pretty good shape. This fender's a little worse. So yeah, that was pretty bad. It does have the ram air hood, but it's probably rotten underneath here. You can see some of the rust breaking down. So I looked at my dad's car. It's a 72, and you can sort of see in there. There's some bolts. If I unbolt that, it should lift up with the hood, but the hinges are probably rusty as well. There is a motor in there. You can sort of see it. I don't know if it's the original one. Sport mirrors. It's this avocado green interior. Basic door panels, not the deluxe interior. It's really musty in here. You can see the mold and rust. It does have the factory tachometer. One of the reasons why I bought this, and factory AC. Headliner's absolutely shot. seat up. More or less put my foot through that floor. You can see all the rust. The windshield seals are shot, but it is, I don't know if you can see that, it's the original Carlite window. You can see how rusty the actual metal dash is because of this. You can see the condensation on the inside during the day. This stuff is falling through. Yeah, completely rotten. Typical for these paper glove box. But I don't see a mouse nest in there though, which is rare. That's the short console. Would have been nice if it had the full length console. It has 91,000 miles. You can see that? Probably not. 91,648. You can see how rusty the underside is. Oh, I've got this insulation falling down all over me. So I do have keys. Look at this deck lid, it's completely shot. If I remember correctly, this trunk pan, yeah, completely rotten. Nothing in here. Gas tank is completely shot. Now you can see right through the bottom. I haven't been under this car. I just loaded it on the trailer and dropped it off here. So it looks like somebody's used some house insulation in there. It could have been a mouse, but someone may have filled that in. Yeah, this deck lid is, I'm assuming the front, the hood, is going to be just as bad, and that's why it's completely rotten. Or excuse me, completely sealed shut. This glass is in good shape. Got the Spark-O-Matic speakers and a custom shelf there. Anything metal on this car is rusted, especially the inside. The doors are not horrible, definitely usable. This here, completely rotten. Some of these come with a fold down rear seat. That's a nice option to have. This one's, aside from the AC, front disc brakes, and this tachometer. You can always tell the tachometer in the dash comes with these 3 gauges here. Temperature, the alternator, and oil pressure. That's really the only, oh well, looks like there were mice in here. Those are the only options on this car, aside from the Mach 1 and 351. Mach 1's, here's some more rust. You could have got a 6-cylinder or 302 in this car, but I don't think you could get a Mach 1 with those motors. I think 351 was the absolute base for a Mach 1 package. So I think the next order is to try and get those bolts, 2 of them, undone. They're almost certainly going to snap. You can see how rusty that is. I only have metric. I've got some standard, but most of what I work on is metric. So try and find some match in an extension and get those bolts and see if we can pop this hood. Let's see, this rubber's completely shot. This is 73. 71, 72 would have had metal chrome bumpers. I have sold these mirrors though in the past for $250, I think, so that's a nice option. Okay, let me get some tools. I've got most of my metric tools somewhat organized, although that's sort of generous to say it's organized. As you can see, there's really nothing organized in this shop. I've got this extra kit that has most standard stuff, which I'm pretty sure, being that old, it's standard. I got a bunch of others stuffed in boxes, hidden all over the place. So I'm just gonna bring this out and should find something that'll work, although it's almost certainly gonna snap. We're gonna need a lot of penetrating fluid. I'm not a professional mechanic or a shop, but I have found that, because especially since I'm out sort of in the country, it's best just to buy a case at a time, because if you run out, you're running all over the place trying to get another can, or maybe it's a filter or something, or oil. It's just better to stock up and have it. But yeah, that will work. Okay, here's the setup. 1/2 inch, 2 long bars. If I push that down a little bit, I should sneak it past. But first, put a little lube in there. Probably pointless. Okay. Loosen it a little, tighten it a little. When it starts getting tight, tighten it back up. Coming out. All right, I think that's it. Yeah. There it goes. All right. There it is. One down. Hopefully the other one goes as well. That one's back and forth. Promising. All right, it's coming. There it is. Okay, looks like it's gonna work. Okay, we got the bolts out. The hood is loose. So this might be the first time this is opened in probably 20 years. the hinges are really tight. Can we see the hinges? I gotta work this back and forth. Otherwise the hood's gonna snap. This trim piece is already, oh, there it goes. Yeah. Supposed to be studs in there. They've completely rusted through, or rusted off. Alright, let me work this back and forth. Actually, let's see if we can take a peek. No! Let me work this back and forth. A little more access. Up and out. That is rusty. Now it's open, finally, ish. I'm gonna have to let the lube kind of soak in there before I can get it all the way. And I gotta be honest, this is not pretty. You can see, that came undone. You can see how rusty and corroded everything is. Get the brake master cylinder and booster. It is power brakes though. Look at the carb. You can see from here it's corroded. Almost certainly going to be locked up. Looks like the factory AC pump probably shot. Pretty much everything in here is probably shot. Something tells me this motor is not going to turn over. Now, I'm not a mechanic, I'm a DIY guy, and I don't really work on old stuff with carburetors. So this project might be over before it even starts. Look at that. Rusted, the lid, rusted right through with the wing nuts. That is completely seized. And the lid rusted straight through. Unbelievable. This is Ohio for you. Little mouse nest over there. This appears as though it's probably a Cleveland. I know that's a Cleveland air filter. Oh, look, there you go. Thrift in Cleveland. Maybe I should have just resold it and left the hood shut. Dipstick. Absolutely. There it goes. It does have oil. Looks old. But it's up to the mark. just, you know, messing with this fan. There's no way that's going to turn freely. Gonna have to get a wrench on it at the very least. But something tells me that is not going to work. That is completely, the carb is completely locked up. I don't think I have the ability to get this going at all. There's just no way. Somebody could. Look at that, there's a 2-barrel right there. Now again, I'm not an expert in old cars, but this is one of the worst ones I've ever seen. Look at this. This vacuum hose, where it was clipped to the hood, rusted away. Despite all the rust, there's plenty of usable parts here. A lot of the individual parts are, you know, worthless. And you can see the inner fender's completely gone, as you'd expect. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this going the more I look at this. Interesting though, because usually when you find an old car like this, they're completely butchered. I mean, absolute hacks. Everybody's left their mark. This appears to be completely stock except for the long tube headers. I don't know what brand they are. I don't even know if it's worth checking fluids on this. With the radiator cap. That's wishful thinking. Not going to get that off with the hand. I'm going to close this hood and kind of think about what I want to do with this. I'm tempted to put it into the shop, then I'll be able to jack it up. Can't do that here on this wet gravel. And then I could there's got to have a broken spring or something up front. You can see how low that is, and I just can't get under there without lifting it up some. So if you got a stuck hood or a stuck latch, those 2 half-inch bolts will pop the hood up. So did I overpay for this at, what did I pay? $28.50. And it was 20 minutes away, so not much of a transportation cost. Can I get $28.50 back out of it? Yeah, I think so. Can I make money on this? Probably not. I could pull off some of the valuable pieces like this. The factory tack gauge cluster, these gauges and the wiring harness underneath, assuming it's even any good, you know, you can get maybe $1,000 for all that. That's probably on a good day, but this is questionable. Plus, if I take all the good stuff, I'm not going to have enough meat on the bone for the next guy, and I don't want to do that. So I think it's probably time to move this one on down for someone who really knows what they're doing, because I mostly work on modern trucks and these Land Rovers. Those are easy. But dealing with something like this is out of my capabilities, I think. I'm gonna sit for a couple of days on this and try and decide what I'm gonna do. Look at this. I'll put some lube on all this stuff, but there's no way this is worth. This is junk. You can see when the body of the carb, I mean, even I know that, it looks this bad. It's gonna be completely gummed up on the inside, completely rotten. Probably gonna have holes, although this is thick cast iron intake, the original. I can't imagine the cooling system is gonna look any good. It's probably full of rust as well. Don't get me started on the brakes. You're gonna have to completely redo the brakes. If you could get this to run, I doubt you could get it to drive. Well, it's been a few months, but I finally decided to put a video together on that Mustang. I didn't really do anything, so I wasn't going to make that, but thought someone might find it interesting. So here's the numbers on that car. The profit was $1,113.05, which is not bad considering I did nothing. I paid $28.50 for it. I had $15 in transfer fees to my dealer name and then to the customer. $8.75 was a priority flat rate envelope so I could mail the title to him because he came on the weekend. And he was an Ohio resident, so I had to collect sales tax. I only collected $230 in sales tax, but I owed $238.20. I miscalculated it somehow. And as far as transportation costs, it was like 20 miles away or 20 minutes away, and it really didn't cost anything to go get it. So that car was too rusty for me to fix. It was fun. I love those old Mustangs, but I am not a mechanic that can deal with that type of thing. So it was better to sell it to someone else. The guy that bought it paid $4,000 for it, which you might argue that that's too much. However, he thinks that car was his first car in high school, so he was willing to pay for it. It was almost identical in every way, but he couldn't remember the VIN, so hopefully it is, and he's going to get it going. He's showed me a couple cars he restored, so he should be the man for the car. So not a very interesting video, but something, I guess. It just goes to show you, if you're in this business, not everything is fun and it has a big result and is worthy of a nice video. Sometimes you just buy something and resell it, and that's that. So $1,100, I'm happy with that. Let's go find something else.